2 minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast. Thirty seconds till broadcast. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Broadcasting from the heart of the nation, the next generation in conservative talk radio. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Oh, yes, it is. What is up, my friends? Welcome into it. It is your Friday. You finally made it to the end of the week, my friends. Pat yourself on the back. You scream, I scream. We all scream for ice cream or conservatism or midterm election season or Freedom 250. Whatever it may be, it's so great to have you along for the ride. Broadcasting out of the heart of the nation in Wichita, Kansas on our flagship radio station, where we are all over the country. So many great radio affiliates, and we have more that have officially jumped on board. I cannot wait to make those announcements. We will do so officially maybe today or Monday, that official announcement, but it's great to have you aboard as we set that tone for the weekend, getting you set, ready to go, doing our thing!
Do it live!
Like we do every single day here on this program, and it's great to have you. Bottom of the hour, we have plenty to talk about today. We have the state of the Democrat Party, Zohran Mamdani back in the news, and talking about the wealthy in New York City. You just got to pay your fair share, man. What the heck's wrong with you? Yeah. Also, there are Democrats now starting to balk on the DHS funding, where they want to separate Department of Homeland Security funding from ICE and split it even further from what they've done to try to go line by line on the ICE funding, the reforms. Essentially, the abolishment of ICE is what their end goal is. Is that popular among the American people? And a heck of a lot more. So we'll get to all that and more coming up in just a little bit. Plus, we saw Pete Hegseth give another update on the Iran conflict. Where are we at there? And I kind of want to start there with our guest on the program that's here right out of the gate as we go to our...
Let's go to the Hoosier Media Hotline.
I say all the time on this program that we are in, quote, historic times for sure, because we have the Board of Peace under the Trump administration. We have now the Shield of Americas looking at our own hemisphere with Cuba and with communism and with the shadow government and organized crime and everything else. We are truly living in historic times. The question is, what will that outcome actually look like? And I couldn't think of a better guy to have on the program to talk about some of that and more, as he is a historian and author of the multiple books, Tiny Blunders, Big Disasters, and Tiny Blunders, Big Disasters, book number 2. Excited to have on the program Mr. Jared Knott. Jared, how are you, my friend?
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great to have you back on. I always enjoy our conversations. And right now, do you agree? Are we living in the quite historic times and the unpredictability of what we could see in the near future?
Well, there's this old Chinese curse that may you live in interesting times. And by gosh, our times are very interesting. And yes, it is something of a curse. It is a real crossroads. What's happening in the Middle East, the hope is going to be a transitional situation that something that's bedeviled the world and the United States for almost 50 years is being neutralized and pulled out by the roots. But it's not as easy as we might hope. We got the big issues there with the Straits of Hormuz, and it's going to be going to take 3 or 4 weeks for us to get that cleaned out. But hopefully, when it's all said and done, we'll be in a good place, a much, much better place than what we've dealt with in these recent years.
That is the end goal. We saw an update from Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, earlier today, talking about the update and said that their new appointed leader that the Ayatollah has tried to put in place, which was apparently the son of the previous Ayatollah leader, and after about 50 ranks deep into their bingo card here, they said that this guy won't even make a public appearance, probably because of some type of deformation from an explosion, and said this.
We know the new so-called not-so-supreme leader is wounded and likely disfigured. He put out a statement yesterday, a weak one, actually, but there was no voice and there was no video. It was a written statement. He called for unity. Apparently killing tens of thousands of protesters is his kind of unity. Iran has plenty of cameras and plenty of voice recorders. Why a written statement? I think you know why.
I think we know why. Jared, as we look at the potential leadership of what the future of Iran looks like, I know that they're desperate to cling on to this power. I know this group is desperate to try and cling on to what they have and continue to taunt the United States, but it can't last long. I mean, we've pretty much decimated what they've had, right? I mean, what's the future of this place look like?
Well, we're dealing with fanatics. They believe that if they die fighting for their cause, they will go to heaven and have a mansion with 40 virgins or some kind of nonsense like that. So they're perfectly willing to give their life for something that is utterly invalid. And even if the Ayatollah Jr., Khomeini Jr., were to come back and be able to speak, or even if he were to die, I don't think it changes anything. You still have a number of the fanatics running the government, making the decisions, and pulling the trigger on putting the mines in the Strait of Hormuz and doing other things. So it's like wiping out a nest of rats. Even if you kill the king rat, there's 10 more king rats right behind them. So that's it's going to require a cleaning out of their police and also their military institutions to be able to cause the regime to collapse.
Yeah. Let's go back a little bit. Let's go back to when this all started and when this regime, this Islamist regime, took over Iran in the 1970s, and they made this nation that it is today. When before that, I mean, again, Iran historically for thousands of years was not Muslim. They were Arabian, they were Persian, and all of a sudden this Muslim mindset kind of took over, and in the 1970s ended up making it what it is today, which is really unfortunate. Is there any possibility that that type of mindset, the original Persian people, can actually come back and do what they need to do in that region?
You know, it's an interesting history. They're actually Aryan, going back thousands of years, a different branch of the Aryan group. And they were not Arab, as you point out, and about 85% of them are still not willing to follow the Muslims' doctrine, the theocracy, but it's the 10 or 15% that has the guns that have been running things. But if there was a free election held, I might even mention in passing, if there's a free election held in China or in North Korea or in Russia with free elections and free freedom of the press, all those regimes would disappear. But of course, no such thing. But they're willing to die to the last drop of blood. It's going to take a very determined, aggressive effort, either on the part of the Iranians themselves rising up, or on the part of the United States and Israel. It's going to be a tough battle to get them rooted out completely, and it's not going to be a quick, easy little bomb them 50 times or 1,000 times or 10,000 times and it's over. Yeah. It's going to require somebody going in and shooting somebody and taking over the government.
Very interesting. Last question on this, and then we'll move on. But with the time frame that we've seen from the Trump administration, from the Department of War as well, saying 6 to 8 weeks to go in and do the bombing and allow the people to kind of take hold again, is that realistic, or are we in for the long haul, like you just teased? This could go on for a while because it's going to take a while to go down that deep into the ranks.
Well, there's some of the admirals are saying that it's going to take about 3 to 4 weeks to get the situation in the Straits of Hormuz cleaned out. We have to go to the areas where they have their harbors, where they have their small boats, and where we're going to have to try to destroy these. Also, the other aerial attacks coming against the tankers. It's going to take about 3 or 4 weeks. I'm thinking that's fairly realistic. They cannot stand up against the power of the United States, but it's going to take a certain amount of time for that power to be administered and applied to each of their little crevices and each of their little warrens. So I think in the end, we pray to God that 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks we'll be at a place where we can declare a victory, and we can hopefully put another government in place that's democratic and serves the people. Now, that's a whole other issue there. It's one thing to learn in Iraq to defeat the military. It's something else to build a new government to take its place.
That is very true. And I just kind of laugh because as they're trying to go so deep into the ranks to keep their leadership going, I know it shouldn't be comparable, but it kind of reminds me when we were looking for our Speaker of the House here on the home front, and we went 50 people deep to try and find Mike Johnson, which I think he's done a pretty decent job overall. But, we had to really go into the ranks to find somebody that could unite the Republican caucus right now. We're talking with Jared Knott. He is the author of multiple different books, Tiny Blunders, Big Disasters, and the same with book number 2, The Many Tiny Mistakes That Changed the World Forever. As you look at these significant times of history when we saw a dramatic shift in a war or something that completely changed history, with what Donald Trump's doing, the Board of Peace, and now we just saw the last week or so with the Shield of Americas going after the cartels and the organized crime in our own hemisphere, is that what's happening right now? Are we seeing a dynamic shift even within our own region right now where this could have long-lasting impression and hopefully for the good moving forward?
Yes, the past administrations, of course, the Biden administration as well as the Obama administration was tried to tolerate and to appease both the cartels as well as the Middle East, as well as Russia. They would give in to Putin very easily, they surrender missiles very easily, put billions of dollars in cash on the planes and ship them to them, trying to make them happy. If we're going to be nice to them, they'll be nice back. Well, no, if you're nice to them, they will interpret that as weakness. They will try to take advantage of it. The cartels will take advantage of you. Maduro will take advantage of you. Of course, the Iranians will do the same. Putin will do the same. They don't understand anything except power and strength. They have to be beaten and defeated. Anything else, any kind of appeasement, is just a green light for them to continue on doing what they've already been doing. It's like gasoline on the flame. So I think we have finally a strong president who understands that and is moving in the direction of peace through strength in every one of those fields.
Yeah, the Shield of Americas is going to be interesting. And with the 12 nations, Central American, South American nations that are working with Donald Trump on trying to get rid of this, is that enough? And like you said, it's going to be difficult, like usual, just like we're seeing in Iran, this type of idea of a shadow government or this organized crime and allowing them to fester and grow so big that most even government officials in many of these nations are paid for or bought by many of these cartels, and they kind of have to be in order to even stay alive or stay in a position of power. How hard is it going to be to weed out that type of mindset and corruption in any type of society?
Well, we killed one of the leaders there of the cartels there in Mexico just, I guess it was about 8 or 9 days ago.
Right.
And of course, it was a huge uprising of the rest of the cartel striking out in revenge. That's just an example of how difficult it's going to be. And it's parallels the situation in Iran. You can cut the head off the snake, but it's like Medusa. The snake grows another 2 or 3 more heads. There's always some other thug right behind him is willing to take his place. So you've got to strike at the heart of the organization itself. Killing or capturing or arresting a leader is a step in the right direction, but that by itself is not enough. It's going to require a thorough transformation of society itself, and transformation of the Justice Department in Mexico has a very weak justice system. It's going to have to be made stronger, and if they don't do it, we may have to step in and do part of it ourselves. It's
going to be interesting. Jared, we got just about 60 seconds left to wrap things up, but let's look at Cuba for a moment. There was the teasing and the taunting from Trump in a social media post that said that there may be a, quote, friendly takeover of Cuba soon. What does that look like, and do we see the collapse of communism in Cuba?
Well, the only parallel I can think of is way, way back when we created the nation of Panama, which was broke away from Colombia. And most of the people in Panama at the time were in favor of having a separate nation, and there was a lot of deals being made behind the scenes some generals got paid a lot of money and got very wealthy as a part of the transaction. So it's possible that we're in communication with the military there in Cuba and the generals who have a lot of power on from their troops supporting them. There may be some kind of deal that can be made, and maybe the elderly people there wanting to retire to the south of France with a lot of money. I'm hoping Marco Rubio can pull something like that off, and it can be done. The whole thing with Panama years ago was done without a single shot being fired or a single life being lost. Maybe we can do the same thing in Cuba. Maybe we can, and maybe we can't.
Well,
we'll have to see.
We'll have to see. Time will tell. I want to be able to go down there and smoke a Cuban cigar and sit back and watch the 1950s vehicles drive by me each and every day. But I want to do it with capitalism and get rid of this communism within our own hemisphere. And it sounds like we're on the road to do that. Jared Knott, go check out his book, Tiny Blunders, Big Disasters, and book number 2. Jared, it's great to talk to you, my friend. As always, got to get you back on and do it again soon.
Appreciate it very much. Always enjoy it.
Absolutely. Always a great pleasure there, Jared Knott. Go check out his website and his books and so much more. We got lots more to cover here for a Friday, setting that tone for the weekend right here for The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
When America builds, the world follows. Our energy powered the 20th century. We've set the standard for generations, and we never waited for permission. But now, we're being held back. Outdated rules, endless delays. Without permitting reform, Washington's red tape is slowing us down while other nations race ahead. It doesn't have to be this way. We can clear the way for energy that's affordable, reliable, and built right here. Because what's built here is felt here. Lower costs, more jobs, stronger communities. That's what permitting reform makes possible. Energy didn't just shape our country, it powered the American dream. And with our innovation, we can lead the 21st century. Congress has a choice. Build America's energy future or risk falling behind. Tell Congress, pass permitting reform now.
Hey, did you know that you can have multiple different networks on one single smartphone? Well, with Patriot Mobile, you can. It's time for you to sign up for the Patriot Mobile primary phone plan with plans as low as $15 a month, where you can have 2 numbers and 2 networks on one single phone. And right now, if you sign up using the promo code REASON, you can get an entire month absolutely free. It's the Patriot Mobile One plan. 1 phone, 2 numbers, and 2 networks. And it's all at patriotmobile.com/reason. Again, patriotmobile.com, and use the promo code REASON. As you know, I'm always looking for a good snack, but it's hard to find good quality snacks without all the unhealthy additives. But now that problem is over. It's time to enjoy J&S Smoked Snacks. Real cuts of beef, real wood smoke, and real flavor that's crafted in small batches to keep every bag fresh. I promise you'll be addicted. And with numerous different flavors, you'll never get enough. This is not your average gas station jerky. It's J&S Smoked Snacks. Find them online at jssmokedsnacks.com and tell them I sent you.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? How did 2 guys in a cramped California garage reimagine the phone and put the power of the universe at our fingertips? At Americans for Prosperity, we believe greatness can happen anywhere. We just need freedom and the opportunity to make it real. But today, with a rigid system stifling progress, limiting creativity, and holding us back. That's why at AFP, we offer solutions that tackle the most critical challenges facing our country, so there's nothing standing in the way of America's next breakthrough. Because what we build today doesn't just shape the future, it defines it. How will you be defined? Take your first step today with Americans for Prosperity.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever. Every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason.
When reason meets radio. This is the voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
And before we begin, I want to send our love to the Michigan Jewish community and all of the people in Detroit area following the attack on the Jewish synagogue early today. And I've been fully briefed, and it's a terrible thing, but it goes on. We're going to be right down to the bottom of it. It's absolutely incredible that things like this happen.
All right, so President Trump speaking earlier today, the 3 terrorist attacks that we've seen in the nation now, and is the media covering that at all? Mainstream media? Hey, MSNBC. Oh, sorry, it's not MSNBC anymore. It's MS Now, because they've had to rebrand themselves because of how bad of a reputation they got there. So are they covering terrorist attacks? No. And in fact, CNN went as far during the panel discussion where Scott Jennings, another great commentator for the conservative side, I never watch CNN, but it is fun to watch him just decimate these guys and just call them out for the ridiculousness that they have. Even tried to say, and they had to redact some statements on social media by saying that the 2 bombings that happened in New York were just nonchalant teenagers, wanted to hang out, wanted to make a nice little day trip out to New York City, got on the train, did their thing, and then they just got emotionally overridden and just wanted to go harm somebody. And they were targeting Zohran Mamdani because they were anti-Muslim Islamophobes or whatever else. And was that the case? Again, no. No, it wasn't. So media not covering that. In fact, the only thing they're covering, which I do not recommend you go to Drudge Report, but they are. There's a headline on Drudge Report now that, quote, new normal, 5 reasons oil costs won't snap back. Now, again, kind of funny that they talk about oil prices. They've had to admit that the Trump administration over the past year has dropped gas prices down pretty substantially. And we are broadcasting, by the way, down in the Gulf of America. So welcome aboard, guys. We'll make that announcement here shortly. But the oil prices did jump a little bit, but they're still dramatically lower than what they were under the Biden administration. Now, remember, Joe Biden depleted the oil reserves because when gas prices started going up, because he stopped the production of oil, he stopped the drilling for oil, he pretty much decimated the oil industry, then gas prices went up, and then he was like, well, we're just going to release our reserves, and we're going to beg OPEC, the global market, to start buying more from them and put a strain on the global market instead of actually producing and sending it to them and selling it, actually making some money. So that's what he did, and he thought that the releasing of 1 million barrels a day was going to somehow drop oil prices and gas prices in the nation. Did that happen? We kind of already know the answer. It's a rhetorical question. No, it did not, because the lowest gas prices now we've seen are under Trump, and they were the lowest they've been since the last time Trump took office. And by the way, consuming 22 million barrels a day in this nation by releasing 1 million barrels a day from the reserves didn't do anything except deplete the reserves. So we're trying to refill that. We're trying to put things back together now. And now we have gas prices that have gone up a little bit, but not to where they were under Joe Biden. And now they're trying to say this is going to be the new norm, like it's some type of COVID pandemic that Donald Trump started, where we're never going to see low gas prices again. This is the rhetoric we have to deal with all the time, and I'm honestly a little tired of it because it's kind of ridiculous. But that's where they're at, and that's the headline. It's not about the terrorist attacks. It's not the fact that we're seeing the cells being activated in the nation, that we have this concern about is Islamic radicalism, and again, vastly different from the average typical Muslim population in the country. But these radicals that have planted themselves here, the open border policies, the focus on the Middle East right now, that they are doing anything they can to demonize the Trump administration, when we should be saying, hey, whether we like it or not, we're in it now. We have to support the troops. We have to actually try and get this done. We have to support the movement to at least end it quickly so we can get back to normal. Because this is an America First agenda, but they won't do that. In fact, it's almost like they're celebrating the death of American soldiers, even to the point they're criticizing Pete Hegseth for the purchasing of millions of dollars for steak and crab and lobster. And then, yes, actually say that he's the one consuming all of it because there's no way he's giving steak and lobster to soldiers abroad and here in the United States. Wild times, man. We got plenty more to get to. Affordability from Zoran Mamdani. His statements when we come back around the corner for a Friday for the Voice of Reason. Stay here.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Miss any part of the show? Well, don't worry. Now's your chance to go find the podcast and listen to as much of the Voice of Reason as you'd like. As the show continues to grow all across the nation with great radio affiliates, we also continue to grow as one of the top conservative podcasts, ranked 5th on the MillionPodcast.com Best 50 Conservative Leadership Podcasts in the nation, and number 1 on FeedSpot.com's 30 Best Conservative Talk Shows in the country. The show continues to grow each and every day. Just find us on any of your favorite podcasting sites at The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com.
Truth, reason, and common sense. This is the voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
Of DHS folks, the CBP, and so they are on the call and they are doing their jobs. Certainly, we need to fund the Department of Homeland Security, and we need, in my view, to cut away all the conversation on ICE, which is its own conversation, from all the core missions of the Department of Homeland Security. But they're essential. They're on the job. They're working today.
There it is. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, we just need to fund Department of Homeland Security, that being a Democrat, except for, of course, ICE. Now, here's the thing, and many may not already know this, but ICE is already funded. We've already funded ICE through the end of the year. So why would we exclude them in this Department of Homeland Security funding in this partial government shutdown, which is just shows the insanity of what's actually going on. We'll get to that in just a minute. I want to tell you about my friends over at Americans for Prosperity. As you know, they've launched their brand new campaign of affordability, the Affordability Agenda, as we go into midterm season for 2026. And I want you to go to a website, americansforprosperity.org/affordability. americansforprosperity.org/affordability, as they talk about the key outlines of what we need to work on, what we need to put pressure on with our elected officials, and what our elected officials need to be doing in Congress in order to actually advocate for and promote affordability. We're already starting to see it. Even though the economy, the numbers were slightly adjusted for the month of January, that came out today, and we'll discuss that in just a minute. But we're moving in the right direction. The wages are slowly going up. Inflation is coming down. We're getting more investment for businesses. We're getting more jobs out into the market. We're doing what we're supposed to do. Now we just have to let it take hold. And it's going to spread like wildfire. But until then, we have plenty of other things that we can do. Deregulation, permitting reform, energy focus, housing market, and so on and so forth. And that's what we need to do with the affordability plans to take that entire issue away from Democrats and allow the private sector, the invisible hand of Adam Smith, to do what he needs to do by going to americansforprosperity.org/affordability. Go check them out today. All right, I want to welcome, I know that we're supposed to technically wait until Monday, but I want to welcome a few new affiliates onto the program. We have actually, they've been great affiliates with us already on the show, but they've been with our weekend program as we carry really in, over 30 markets across the country with our weekend program. And now, as of today, with our partnership with Talk Media Network, we are officially live across the nation on satellite broadcasting. So, yeah. And we want to welcome aboard a few new affiliates for the weekday program as well. WJNZ, our great affiliate in Mobile, Alabama. You guys are awesome down there on the Gulf of America, and loving to be able to cover that area as you are broadcasting us live down in that area. I know you cover us again on the weekends, but with us here during the weekdays now as well. And, of course, with their partnership with WPMO out of Pascagoula, Mississippi. Again, right on the Gulf of America. What's up, guys? And we love you guys to death. Welcome aboard for the weekday program. We have more that we'll be announcing and coming on soon for the weekday broadcast. All right, let's talk about this shutdown with DHS and with the shutdown from the Department of Homeland Security.
Of DHS folks, the CBP, and so they are on the call and they are doing their jobs. Certainly, we need to fund the Department of Homeland Security, and we need, in my view, to cut away all the conversation on ICE, which is its own conversation, from all the core missions of the Department of Homeland Security. But they're essential. They're on the job. They're working today.
They're on the job working today. I want to remind you, as of today, in most places, my daughter's super excited. She is, for those that may be relatively new to the program, she is 11. She is in 6th grade, and she is so excited that now she is officially on spring break. Spring break has officially kicked off across the nation. Now, I said this earlier this week, that the only way this government shutdown will end is when Democrats finally get enough pressure to cave, which is why we saw the government shutdown last for so long last time in October and November of last year, and why they finally caved, and by the way, caved with nothing. Zero, zilch, nada. They got nothing out of that one as they tried to put back in additional subsidies for Obamacare that we had during the COVID-19 pandemic that we no longer needed because, well, we're back to work and we don't have any more pandemics. So they were trying to keep those in. That didn't work. So they finally, after a month and a half, finally gave up. They've allowed this one to continue on because it really hasn't affected a whole lot of people yet. And therefore, their only leverage, never let a crisis go to waste, is to take advantage of you and put the pressure on you and make sure that you're struggling. We are now going into spring break, and this is the very first paycheck for more than 60,000 TSA workers in the nation that are under the umbrella of the Department of Homeland Security that are not going to be getting a paycheck because of this ongoing government shutdown. So now Democrats are pivoting. And they're saying, wait, well, of course we want funding for Homeland Security when there's been 3 terrorist attacks and we need to have law enforcement on the job to do their thing. Of course we want TSA workers to get paid because it's spring break and it's going to be crazy traveling across the nation, and we want to make sure that TSA workers are actually working. They don't have to work. They're not, I mean, they're getting furloughed, but now they're not getting a paycheck. They don't have to work. They can go do something else. And we don't want slowdowns at the airports. Of course we want FEMA that's running out of funds because it's tornado season across the Mid-America region where I'm broadcasting out of in Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Texas. What was it? Illinois, I think? Iowa? One of those states already hit their record for the number of tornadoes for the month and for the season. Insane. One major disaster and the rest of the funds for FEMA, gone. Just poof, they're gone. So now they're trying to pivot from, well, we want to essentially reform ICE. We want to put on some body cameras. We want to change things up a little bit. We just want to change their uniforms. Nothing crazy. Maybe get rid of a few detention facilities for illegal aliens because how dare we deport people. They're changing that to now we want to keep the funding away from ICE, but we want to fund the rest of the Department of Homeland Security. And I'm going to tell you that's a no-go. And if you want to do that, as a Democrat said yesterday, saying that they want to go line by line for ICE funding, I say if you want to do that, that is a very dangerous game for you to play, because if you want to go down that road, we can do that as well, and we can do it for every aspect of the federal government. I say, here's my proposal, Andy's proposal for the day.
Andy's prediction.
Well, I don't know about a prediction, but it's at least a proposal that we can advocate for. Hint, hint, wink, wink, elected officials. Here's what I say. We set a baseline for funding for government, and we let it sit on autopilot for about 2 years. We just have it go on auto. We do nothing with it. Maybe it grows at like 0.5%. We don't need 6% growth. That's kind of ridiculous. Thanks, government and Democrats and social programs that are 80% of the federal budget. You just let it sit on autopilot for 2 years. We don't worry about the appropriations. We don't worry about the discretionary funding, mandatory. We just let it sit for 2 years. And we say, all right, appropriations committees, we're going line by line, baby. We are going point by point for every single bit of funding for the federal government, every department, every agency, every program. You want to do this just because of ICE and you don't want ICE funded any longer. No, we're not going to stop there. We're going to do it for every agency. And we'll consolidate all the discrepancies. We're going to end a whole bunch. We're going to consolidate a whole bunch of things. Can you imagine if we did something like that? And I say 2 years because it's probably going to take that long just to get through all of it. But if we did something like that, could you imagine how much money we could save if we actually spent the time to do a complete deep audit line by line out of the entire $7 trillion federal budget? Could you imagine how much money we could save? Come on, man. So Democrats, don't tempt us while you're like, we just want to separate DHS funding from ICE. No. If you want to do that, we're going to do it through everything. And we'll see how well that turns out for you. Of course, they're going to panic and go after that. So now they're starting to look bad, just like they did the last government shutdown. And now they're starting to panic and say, well, no, we'll fund the rest of it. We just want to separate this one after we separated Department of Homeland Security from the rest of the appropriations process. And as I've said before, that was the fault of Republicans to allow that to happen in the first place as well. That being said,
what's trending today?
While we have government money not going out to certain workers, we have the government in other places wanting to bring in more money in other aspects. I want to go for just a moment to New York City, the state of the Democrat Party, and Zohran Mamdani, the guy who has advocated for socialism and communism. Let's just admit it. He's communist now in New York City, and we're seeing the social experiment already begin to play out, where now he has just advocated for, hey, super rich people, can we just have a little bit more money, please?
Amidst being in the wealthiest city in the wealthiest country in the history of the world, we already see an exodus of working and middle-class New Yorkers. So I don't have a hesitation in asking those who make the most amount of money in the city or the most profits in the city to pay a little bit more so that everyone can actually stay in this city. It's also something not just about justice or the ability for working class people to live here. It is also actually about ensuring that corporations can continue to attract the top talent to this city.
I love it. I love how he tries to pitch to private companies exactly how they should run their business. Hey, you should pay more taxes. Well, why would we do that? Well, if you invested more taxes, then we can take care of social programs to entice better people to come here to work for you as an employee. Is that going to... I'm sorry. It's so stupid. It's so stupid because, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But that's the latest pitch from Zohran Mamdani. Now, if you remember, when he proposed his budget for the city, same thing like the government, well over budget. And they just say we have to find more money. We're not going to trim. We're not going to reform. Not going to consolidate. Not going to cut. Not going to do it. We just need to find more money. And, of course, the rich people are the ones to do it. The corporations are the ones to make that happen, to the point where even – now, he hasn't said it himself, but members of his new quote-unquote team and supporters of Mamdani, the generation whatever, the Gen Zers, I'm guessing, that are out there getting their super spiced latte, fill in the blank. I don't know. I don't drink coffee. So whatever they do out there that are wearing the pink hats and the big stuffies and live in their parents' basements, that they are advocating for a bill and pushing for legislation in New York to ban companies from being allowed to leave New York City because they know what's going to happen. In fact, we've already seen the headlines out of Washington state after they've passed their wealth tax that multiple businesses, millionaire and billionaire tech junkies are moving from Washington and California to the state of Florida. So they already know that when you raise taxes that people are going to leave. Now we're seeing the squeeze on the middle class, according to Mamdani. So he's asked, instead of forcing, he's trying to be nice and turning it around. If you just invest in taxes, then you can attract more people here because you have better social programs to take care of individuals. I don't think that the pitch is going to work, but go for it, buddy. See how well that social experiment turns out for you in New York City, and as more individuals continue to walk away from that area. Florida, I feel bad for you because you have to deal with everybody flooding into your state right now. And I know that you probably just want to shut the doors as well and say, go away. I mean, but hey, you know what? We're seeing it play out before our eyes. Eventually, the bubble's going to pop, and it's going to be fun to watch. It's not going to be good for the people experiencing it, but it's going to be fun to watch from the outside in. Lots more coming up.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left finds new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back. And that's where we can help. Head to our website at HooserReason.com. There you can find our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Let us know your thoughts on current events with different surveys and chat rooms. And keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Plus, when you head to the website, you can always get great deals and different offers from all of our great radio partners. Finally, if you want more of the show, you can find our podcasts with all of our great episodes and your favorite guests. And make sure to check out the latest Voice of Reason infomercials and maybe some other special content. And it's all because of you being part of the Hoosier-holic family. Let's continue to fight for conservative common sense principles together by going to HooserReason.com. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? Our country's greatest breakthroughs were born from bold ideas and the ability to take one small step forward. At Americans for Prosperity, freedom and opportunity find their defenders. Because our country's next giant leap is just around the corner. Are you ready to step up?
Hey, the live show may be almost over today, but it doesn't have to be for you. As always, enjoy the Voice of Reason with our daily podcast by finding the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser on any of your favorite podcasting sites. Just find us, subscribe, have it automatically downloaded, and listen at your convenience whenever you want to bring some more reason into your day. And a lot of people are doing it. Also, you can always find the video of the show, along with articles, additional commentary, and maybe a few sarcastic remarks by following us on our social media. Stay up to date with everything going on with the show, including upcoming guests, breaking news stories, interesting articles, and maybe some memes. Help us in the ongoing battle with censorship and shadow banning from social media by following us on the social media at Hooser Reason on all of our social media sites. For all these social media links, podcast links, contact information, or just general information of the show, go to our website at HooserReason.com. There you can listen live every day, read our latest monthly blog, find our radio affiliate list, or even listen to our latest infomercials and special content. Plus, you can always reach out to the program by sending me a message on social media, emailing us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com, or sending an email through our website at HooserReason.com. Whether it's content on the show, whether it's a guest that you've liked or disliked, or whether you want to disagree with me, and disagreement's always appreciated. While you're there, make sure to sign up for our monthly newsletter. Each month, you'll get the latest update on the show, updates from the Hooser Media Network, and our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Finally, if you want to help support the show, become a member of our Patreon site and help us fight for the cause of truth, reason, and common sense every day, and get more of the same by becoming the ultimate Hoosierholic. Get additional interviews that sometimes we don't always get to air on the radio. Hear our special segments or even our infomercials before anyone else, and have a chance to chat with other great Hoosierholics from all over. By becoming a Patreon subscriber, you're not only helping the fight for conservative values, you're helping us get more content and information out through the Hooser Media Network. Find out more information online at HooserReason.com. Lastly, follow and support all of our partners with the show. The Voice of Reason has been growing more and more every year, and it's because of so many great partners helping us get the message out to you. From show partners to local radio affiliates in your area to streaming sites, podcasting sites, and more, we have so many supporters and listeners now than ever before, and we want to thank you. It's time to bring back common sense, and we do it right here every day with the Voice of Reason.
America's safe space for common sense. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Tell me what you think about Gavin Newsom.
I think Newsom has the Hillary Clinton problem, which is that Hillary Clinton was perceived outside of the Democratic Party and Democratic coalition as like the ultimate lib, like the libbiest lib who ever lived, and was never actually like that much of a lib.
I mean, at that time.
And also had a record that was like fairly centrist, particularly as a U.S. senator. And that's like the worst uncanny valley for a Democratic politician to be in, where the base doesn't trust you because you don't have a kind of organic relationship with like the left parts of the party. And then the swing voter like just thinks like, that's a lib.
So I'm confused. That makes no sense to me. By the way, that was some journalist, some guy off of MS Now. It used to be formerly MSNBC. Now it's MS Now. And saying that Gavin Newsom, for his presidential run in 2028, going to have the same problem within Democrats as what Hillary Clinton did, where she doesn't have an organic relationship with the left. Now, I'm confused. The party's been going left, right? We have Zoran Mamdani. We have AOC, our favorite person here on the program.
I am told this is a garbage disposal.
Yeah, we have that sect of the Democrat Party, and I would see even lump in someone like Chuck Schumer into that realm. But that is the base, and they're not. Well, that's the base. That's the loudest voice of the Democrat Party, and they're not relatable to the American people. They may be relatable to the base of the Democrats now, because the Democrats are predominantly that sect of the Democrat Party, but they're not relatable to the average American. And I think that's what he was trying to say, but he ended up saying that they don't have an organic relationship with the base of the Democrats. They do, because they run the Democrat Party. They don't have a relationship with the average American. That's why when you see Kamala Harris on late night TV trying to drink a beer, she looked very uncomfortable. That's why when you saw Elizabeth Warren running for president and she was doing the Zoom and, hey, you want a beer? I want a beer. Have a beer. A little pop things off and pretend to drink a beer. That's why when you had Chuck Schumer out there on the 4th of July taking a selfie, he's like, I'm just like you. And then he took a selfie of him trying to grill a burger, and the piece of cheese was on the raw burger patty because he doesn't know how to actually make a hamburger. So they're completely out of touch with reality, completely out of touch with the American people, and that's why they lose. Not because they're out of touch with their Democrat Party. The party itself has a base problem because the base of the party is completely unrelatable. That being said, on the Republican side, we have an interesting way of showcasing the populism within our party. Obviously, Donald Trump was kind of a shock and awe moment of us scratching our heads saying, do we trust this guy? What's he saying? What's he doing? He doesn't really fit into a nice little box that we expect Republican candidates to do. And then did you see on Friday or I'm sorry, well, today's Friday, a couple days ago, there was the rally that he did in Kentucky. We covered part of it live here on the program. And none other than Jake Paul, the wannabe boxer. I'm not a big fan of Jake Paul. He's tried to battle with the UFC. I'm a big fan of Dana White, the UFC. And Jake Paul tried to do an alternative, trying to give better health care to fighters and pay them more. So he almost wanted to do like the communist thing as the alternative, and it kind of failed. And then he wanted to be a boxer, and then he broke his jaw, so he's still not talking right. Was that the rally and supported Donald Trump?
Yeah, what Mr. Trump has taught me is courage. You know, we never back down from a fight, even if they're much bigger than you, much, much bigger than you. And I feel all the local Kentuckians feel the same way. You guys have that fight. You guys have that swag. There's a lot of young kids in here. The future of America. I grew up just a few hours away from here, and my dad taught me to fight. And all of our voices matter in America. And I'm never afraid to speak the truth, and I know you guys aren't. We are here representing the United States, and it's just a blessing. Thank you, Mr. Trump. We need more factories like this thriving all over the country, and I know he's going to be the one to bring that here to us. I know God is with us. I know he wants us on the right side of history.
So weird, man. I don't get it. I mean, I get it. It's a populist thing. And you know what? The next big name, the next big celebrity. I'm not a big fan of Jake Paul. I've never been a fan of the Paul brothers. I think they were a bunch of kids that just made a bunch of money on YouTube and probably needed to be knocked down a few pegs. Well, the guy literally got his jaw cracked in half and broken, so I think he did. But I give him props. I give him props for supporting Donald Trump because that's a very unpopular thing to do with your generation and with the amount of money and the celebrity status that you have. I give you major props for doing that and saying that we want more jobs, we want more opportunity, we want freedom, and we're going to support someone that's actually doing it. It's just so weird. It's very strange. We had Kanye West, which that one went off the rails really quickly. And then we've had a few other celebrities, which again, the whole Nicki Minaj thing, I don't get it. I'm glad. Welcome aboard to the party. Like, welcome to the realizing that, you know, Donald Trump's not the most evil person on the face of the earth, but it's just so strange. So while they try to figure out their identity crisis on the Democrat side, we have more people coming to us and recognizing what we're doing and wanting to showcase that. And overall, if that's not an indication for the midterm season, I really don't know what else is. All right, back at it again on Monday. We got our big broadcast this weekend as well. Don't miss it. Find more information at HooserReason.com. It is The Voice Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. We'll see you back on the radio soon. Bye.
For too long, Washington has said no to builders, workers, and American families, and yes to bureaucracy, delay, and special interests. Let's flip that. Say yes to building more housing, and no to government mandates that block it. Yes to permitting American energy, and no to endless red tape. Yes to putting patients in charge of healthcare, and no to letting insurance companies call the shots. Higher costs? No. An affordable America? Yes.